Today's about letting your body lead the way. And if you're moving through something difficult, something challenging, or you're just kind of stepping into something new and you are ready, you're ready to become the next version of yourself. You're ready to transcend who you used to be. You're ready to step into something you feel like you've been moving towards for your whole life, like I have. And that's how I felt for a lot of my life, like I'm stepping into something, like I'm moving towards something, like I'm becoming, I've always been driven to become the version of myself that I really came here to be. And I think it's because I went through so much of my life feeling like who I was showing up as wasn't really me, wasn't the authentic version of me. I knew that, but I just didn't know what to do about it. And then I kind of built a life around that version of myself and really didn't know what to do about it because it can become sort of a trap. And so the question is, how do you let yourself be led by your body? How do you let yourself be guided? Because that's the way through whatever you're navigating. If you're going through something challenging and you just don't know the way forward, you don't know how to get from where you are to where you want to be. Most people will say, make a list, write down all the steps you need to take, plan it all out, have discipline, focus, get it done. But you've focused your whole life, and focus and discipline. Focus is important, discipline is important, but it's not enough. It's not that it's not enough, it's that they don't get you to where you want to be when what you're being driven by is your mind, is your head. Because I think that we're here to learn how to be guided. I think that's the goal of life, is to learn how to let things be expressed through us, to let the universe express itself through us, just like the universe expresses itself through nature. We are nature. We're an act of nature. And we kind of separate ourselves. We learn to operate in ways that are inauthentic and that don't speak to the deeper truth of who we are, the deeper truth behind our mind, behind our analytical mind. And it means that not enough of us get to really fulfill our purpose and live as joyfully as we can live. And this is why the world is in so much trouble, because not enough people are allowing themselves to be who they really came here to be. It makes me sad because there's so much more possibility in this world. There's so much more available to all of us individually and to this world collectively. And I want to help foster it. And if you're listening to me right now, I want to ask you to help me on this mission of fostering more joy, more love, more creativity in the world. By doing what Gandhi said, to be the change you wish to see in the world. Because it starts inside of each of us. We have to embody what we want to see more of in the world. And so that's all I'm trying to do, is embody more of what I want to see in the world. And it's hard. It's really hard to change. It's hard to be bigger than your environment. It's hard to step into what feels like a more expanded version of yourself when it feels like it's causing you to slip away from a lot of the people that have known you your whole life, or even just who you've thought of yourself as for your whole life. Who am I? Who are you? We're not who we think we are. We're not the idea we have in our head of ourselves. And I think that's the pain that I've carried throughout a lot of my life, is the pain of believing that I am this idea I've had in my head about myself. And I know I'm not that more clearly than ever before in my life. I know that I'm not that. And so what am I? I'm the way it feels to be me. I am what wants to be expressed through me. I know that I'm something so much more than my life has ever led me to believe. And everything I've experienced in my life is just pointers to who I am, pointers to what's true. And even words, these words are just pointers to a deeper truth behind them, because no words can ever really capture the ultimate truth, and we're just dancing around something and never quite arriving at it, because I think we're just trained to understand and navigate the world in a very limited way with our senses, through being analytical. But that's not leading us to where we want to go individually and as a collective, as a species. This is episode 12 of Act As If. Act As If is a show about learning to trust yourself again. And today's show is about learning to act from your body, learning to act from your intuition, learning to allow something to be expressed through you, because that's all I'm trying to do here, is show up every day, same time, same place, and let something be expressed through me, and to trust that I don't need to have it all figured out. I don't need to figure out exactly what I'm going to say or how I'm going to talk about it, but I just want to open myself up to receive and to share and to trust that that means something. And it's hard. It's really hard to show up that way, because I want to be in control. I want to know what's going to happen next. And I'm feeling called in my life to sort of let go of control, and to trust in the power of miracles, to trust in the power of magic, to trust that I don't always need to have it all figured out. I don't always need to know exactly where I'm going or what I'm meant to do or how I'm meant to bring my dreams to fruition. That's the universe's job. That's God's job. Knowing that God is just a word that points to something that can never be encapsulated with a word, just like the force of nature. It's the hard thing about this is we're trying to put words to things that there are no words for. But that's what kept every writer and every poet who has ever lived up at night. And the best ones did it remarkably in ways that came close to actually capturing the thing that they were trying to use their words to point towards. So how do you allow yourself to be guided by your body? Because that's the path. That's the path through whatever you're going through. Whatever you want to get to. I know this. I just know this because I've done everything else throughout my life. I've tried every other way to get to where I wanted to be and achieve the things I wanted to achieve. And the things that I achieved through my head, through force, through rigid planning and discipline, those things didn't feel the way I thought they were going to feel. And what is life about if not ultimately feeling the way we want to feel? And I'm feeling more the way that I've ever wanted to feel through simply letting go and trusting that there's a force that I can't understand and that there's something unfolding in my life that I am incapable of understanding. And it's so hard because I'm so accustomed to having such a tight grip on things in my life. But I'm being called. It sounds like a weird thing to say, but it's not, because we all have voices talking to us. I think God, or whatever you want to call it, is talking to all of us all the time. We just don't hear it. Neil Donald Walsh wrote about that in the book Conversations with God, how God is always speaking to all of us, and most of the time we're just not listening. That God didn't stop speaking to people, you know, after the biblical ages. People just stopped listening. And I guess the question is, how do you listen? I think you just have to slow down as part of it. I think you have to practice mindfulness, which is learning to see your mind. Mindfulness is about learning to see what your mind is doing, see what your mind is saying, and to not always be instinctively driven by it. To not always believe the stories it tells. If you're in a difficult situation and your mind is saying something, your mind is catastrophizing, learning to treat your mind like a scared child, because that's probably all it is a product of the things that scared us so badly when we were younger, that those fears are still with us, still shaping our life. And until we become fully aware of that, those fears will keep shaping our life. And so one thing I've been doing is turning to myself and just giving myself love. Giving myself love, knowing that the reasons that I'm scared in life a lot of the time, the reason I have the anxieties and the fears that I have is because that young version of me is still alive inside of me and still needing the love that he's never gotten. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the key to how do we learn to let ourselves be guided by our bodies and by our intuition, is by knowing that when we're not allowing ourselves to be guided by those things, that we're being guided by unhealed parts of ourselves that still are living in the past. And I believe we can talk to those parts of ourselves and say, it's not the past anymore. It's 40 years in the future. And this is what's happening now. I'm making a video that I'm going to share with hopefully some people who will connect with and love the things I have to say. And there's nothing dangerous about doing this. That's my new practice, is not buying into the things my head says so much. And what that means, for one thing, is letting myself feel more emotion, and letting myself express those emotions. That's the path to where I want to be. It's through loving myself, it's through accepting myself, it's through allowing whatever wants to come through me to come through me. Knowing that I don't need to exert so much control, I don't need to worry, because life is much more miraculous and magnificent than what we can see. So that's what I'm leaning into. Thanks for watching episode 12 of Act As If. I appreciate you. I'll see you tomorrow.